Today's case happened in 2017 in South Africa. A young woman and her friend were robbed and kidnapped by 4 criminals. The story shocked the country, and the case is considered to be one of the worst crimes in the country. This is the story of Hannah Cornelius. Hannah Cornelius was born on February 13, 1996 in Cape Town, the legislative capital of South Africa. She lived with her parents Willem and Anna Cornelius and her younger brother Andries, who had autism. The family was upper class and lived a very comfortable life. At the time in which the events took place, 2017, Willem was a judge and Anna owned a successful law firm. According to her parents, Hannah had always been very calm. She loved playing the piano and was known to all as a kind, happy, fun girl who was always willing to help others. In 2012, on her 16th birthday, Hannah said that she didn't want to win any gifts. She told her parents that she would prefer to use the money that would have been spent on gifts to buy and distribute toys to the needy children who lived in the nearby settlements. She did this again on all her subsequent birthdays. Hannah was also a volunteer at an animal protection NGO where she helped to rescue animals and find new homes for them. Despite her parents having degrees in law and encouraging her to follow in their path, Hannah chose to study literature. Her parents were a little sad at first at her decision not to become a professional in the field of law, but they understood that their daughter must follow her own path. On the morning of May 27th, 2017, Cheslin Marsh, a friend of Hannah's, appeared alone at a police station. He was injured, bleeding, and reported that he and Hannah had been robbed the morning before. Cheslin relayed everything that had happened and was brought to the hospital. Hannah's parents were informed that their daughter had been kidnapped. Cheslin said the following: "During the early hours of that same day, around 3:30, Hannah stopped her car near his house on their return from a meeting with friends. As they chatted in the car outside the house, 4 men approached them. The men were armed with knives and various tools. One of them placed a screwdriver against Hannah's chest, and the others stole their cash and belongings. One of the men then left with the cash and items, leaving only the victim's cards with the other 3 men. One of the criminals sat in the back with Cheslin, while the other 2 sat in the front with Hannah between them. They drove a few kilometers, then stopped the car and told Cheslin to get into the trunk. At around 4:30 in the morning, they went to a gas station. One of them got out of the vehicle and went to the cash machine to try to withdraw money from Cheslin's account, but he was unable to do so because Cheslin had given him the wrong PIN. This made the men angry. They beat him until he gave them the correct one. Hannah cooperated out of fear. She didn't say a single word and just looked straight ahead. The criminals stopped at a drug dealer's house, bought some drugs and carried on down the street. The men told the victims that they were just robbing them, using the car to run some errands, and that they would release them later. But this was not true. At around 5 or 6 a.m., they headed to a neighborhood called Kryfontein, a Cape Town suburb. There, the criminals took Cheslin out of the trunk and brutally beat him with bricks and stones which they found at the scene. The boy fell unconscious, and the criminals, probably thinking he had died, abandoned him there. Cheslin regained consciousness hours later and went to get help. He had no idea where Hannah was or what had happened to her. Already knowing that the criminals had Hannah's car, the police alerted several patrols, racing against time to find the kidnapped young woman. That afternoon, at around 2 o'clock, almost 12 hours after the kidnapping began, Hannah's car was spotted on a highway. A chase began and carried on for some time until they reached a road that accessed a farm. The car stopped and the 3 suspects got out, trying to flee on foot. But they were soon captured. They were 33-year-old Vernon Whitbowie, 28-year-old Eben van Niekerk, and 27-year-old Geraldo Parsons. Hannah was not with them. The group didn't take long to say who was the 4th person involved in the crime, Nashville Julius, 29. They didn't hesitate in telling the police everything that had happened after they abandoned Cheslin. While a police team searched for Julius, another interrogated the others, who were apparently proud of the crimes they had committed that morning. After abandoning Cheslin, they took Hannah to an isolated location near a paintball field in the city. There, they viciously abused her for about an hour and a half. At around 7:30 in the morning, they put Hannah back in the vehicle and drove about 20 kilometers to a rural location that was near a stream. There, they dragged Hannah out of the vehicle and stabbed her several times with their tools. While her vital signs were already weak, 2 of the criminals, not satisfied, picked up a stone weighing more than 35 kilos and dropped it onto her head. The police were certain that she must have died at this point. The criminals then left the place. The police imagined that their evil doings that day ended there. But as the day went on, some victims of various crimes reported the actions of criminals with the same profile as the men in their custody. Some reports even identified their car as being the same model as Hannah's. After killing Hannah, the 3 criminals spotted a woman who was traveling alone on her way to work. They chased her, then stole her purse and cell phone. They then kidnapped another woman and went to a gas station in the city of Brackenfell. There, security cameras recorded Vernon Whitbowie withdrawing money from his new victim's bank account. After this, they released her. Minutes later, the car was spotted by the police and they were captured. Hannah's body was recovered and taken to the hospital for autopsy. The official report found that she had been severely abused. She had numerous bruises on her body, and there was severe damage to her genital area. In November 2018, the 4 men were brought to trial. During the hearings, they laughed, mocked the court, made obscene gestures and swore at the people who were there to observe the trial. They appeared to not have a shred of remorse for what they did and didn't even care about the punishment which they might face. Vernon Whitbowie, Eben van Niekerk, and Geraldo Parsons were found guilty of all 10 charges brought against them, including assault, robbery, kidnapping, physical abuse, abandonment, and murder. The 3 were sentenced to 2 life sentences each. The 4th criminal, Nashville Julius, who helped in the robbery but who left shortly afterwards with the belongings, was found guilty on charges of assault and robbery and sentenced to 22 years in prison. A few months after the crime, Hannah's parents created a foundation named after the young woman and which aims to provide support and advice for the occupants of impoverished settlements. Her mother, Anna, left her law firm to dedicate herself solely to the foundation because she wanted to continue her daughter's legacy by helping those most in need. However, in March 2018, 10 months after the crime, Anna died in a drowning accident while swimming in the sea. She swam almost every morning at a beach near Scarborough in Cape Town, but that day she didn't return home. Her body was found by beachgoers. People suggested that Anna had taken her own life because she could not bear the loss of her daughter. The husband, says he does not believe that his wife did this intentionally. He stated that Anna had become physically weaker following Hannah's death. The family attributed it to the pain of losing their daughter. Most likely the sea was rough that day to such an extent that she was unable to swim back to shore. Willem also said that his youngest son, who has autism, does not understand the concept of loss, and that every day when he looks at a photo of his sister and mother, he asks when they will return. Willem started to raise his youngest son alone and decided to abandon his profession as a judge because, according to him, he could no longer be as impartial as he always had been, after everything that had happened to his daughter and his family. Cheslin Marsh, Hannah's friend, lost his hearing in one of his ears. Unfortunately, in December 2022, William passed away from cancer just 3 months after a diagnosis. Andries is being cared for at a centre for autistic children in Bonnievale. He's much loved by his aunt, uncle and cousins, who are now his only surviving relations.